are not supported by and do not reflect those of the Evening Rush Network. Viewers' discretion is advised.
Good evening. Welcome to the Live by the Three Sports podcast with your host, Coach Matt, and my man Tyler. What's going on, Tyler? How are you?
I'm good, man. How you doing? What's going on?
I can't complain, man. Just looking forward to another great night on the Evening Rush Network, talking about sports and what's been going on. It's been an interesting week, especially around the New York area. So we can jump into that with some baseball because for New York, it's been some up and downs in the New York sports area for baseball. So first, we start off with my team, the Mets. Had a great regular season, 101 games, and we're in first place for the overwhelming majority of the regular baseball season. And had a not so great September down the stretch. Got swept by the Braves, and that kind of knocked them out of that first place. And they end up qualifying for the wild card and lost to the Padres. And they even had home field, but they still end up losing to the Padres. So it was a disappointing season, I would say, from that regard for the Mets. But it was a fun ride. I will say that they played great all year. They just hit a little rough patch towards the end, and so that was their fate for this year. But then we had the Yankees, who full disclosure, I'm not a Yankee fan, but I'm not a Yankee hater either. You respect those guys, and, just not a fan, so I'm not going to claim them. And but they're playing well. They won their first playoff game yesterday against the Cleveland Guardians, so they go again tomorrow night. They won yesterday 4-1, I think the score was. So New York sports right now is a little up and down. We'll talk about the football teams in a little bit, but we got the hockey season starting up. So New York, New York represented itself, lately with the spring sports. So now we're heading into the fall and winter. So
We're going too fast. We got to talk about the Mets. Are you okay with what's going on with the
I
Mets?
mean, we could talk about it.
Let's talk
Listen,
about
like
it.
I said, it was fun. The obviously is disappointing. There was a lot of talk about the possibility of a Subway Series. That's definitely not happening. It ain't happening. It's not happening. So that's disappointing. But
You surprised?
no, I did not cry. I did not cry. I did
Are
not
you
cry.
surprised though that they didn't go all the way?
I, we spoke on it last week. I'm a big believer in the Mets are an underdog team. They're underdog franchise. They're underdog franchise. My personal feeling is they do a lot better when the spotlight is not on them. They kind of sneak up on people. They're not the hunted, right? They end up being the hunter. I think that
Mm-hmm.
that's where they thrive. And every specialist, especially in my lifetime, like, in the 80s, the Mets were really good. But since then, when they've been the underdog team and then they hit a little streak, and then next thing you know, they're in the playoffs and they're doing well and they surprise people. The next thing you know, they end up in the World Series. And it's happened twice in the last 2 decades. So when that happens, it's usually because they're sneaking up on people. It's not because they've been dominating all year. So this was a different position for them, and it didn't work out. So obviously, you want to have a clearer path to get to the World Series, but I don't know. Maybe it's the pressure, the underdog thing. I don't know. I'm not sure, but they were playing really well, and then they just kind of went off the cliff.
They
Yeah,
definitely
it
have
can
the
happen.
personnel.
Yeah, and they're a little bit of an older team too. They have some really good young talent, but some of their better players are guys that are. It's not like they're you know building for the future, so they're gonna have to make some tough decisions in the offseason on which direction they're gonna head. Try to run it back one more time with these guys who they got a little bit banged up during the year,
Mm-hmm.
pitching staff and all of that, and they got to hit better, but consistently. But it was you know it was I can't say it was a tough year. It was a tough ending, but I think they represented themselves well throughout the year, and they just hit a bad patch, and that can happen. So the Yankees have to hold it down for New York now. They got to hold it down. I know you're not a Yankee fan, you're a Red
Not
Sox
at all.
fan, but
Mm-hmm.
the Yankees got to hold it down.
Did you see
Yankees
the
got
walk-off home run last night by Alvarez
I didn't.
on the
I
Astros?
didn't. I didn't. I didn't. No, I didn't see
Yeah,
it.
he had
What?
he whipped out the Dati Quieto stick.
He
He
did?
had It's 3-1 home run. They do 2 fastballs. The second one,
Took it.
knocked it out.
Hey, now that, and I mean, listen, over the last few years, the Astros they've been in it every year. They have a really strong, really strong, uh, franchise right now. That they've been in it almost every year. They had the cheating thing a couple of years ago, but they're still in it. They're still in it. Micah Brand, what's up, my guy? What's going on? Appreciate you jumping in the live stream. Appreciate that. So we'll so you got anything else on the Mets or the Yankees, Todd?
Nah, I don't really care about them too much.
All
Just formality.
right, all right,
What's up with your
all right.
Jets? Let's talk about your Jets.
Let's
They
talk
blew
about
out
them.
my. They blew out
Hey,
Miami.
let's talk about them. Let's
Were you
talk about
surprised?
my Jets.
Were you surprised?
No, I wasn't surprised. We have a good young team, and those guys are starting to believe in themselves, and our young players are getting it done, man. It's been a fun. It's early. It's 5 games in, but I like our young talent. They're really exciting, and they believe. And at this point, they don't even know any better. They're just going out there playing. My man Sauce Gardner got his first interception this week. Brees Hall had a great. I mean, they played good. And the Dolphins fans are all upset. Oh, we didn't have two. And then Bridgewater gets knocked out in the first offensive play. Okay, well, Sauce Gardner took him out. Don't think it was intentional. It was a good hard football play. Cornerbacks, cornerback blitz, popped him, knocked him out. Some people are speculating that maybe he didn't have a concussion, but because of everything that happened with Tua, the whole medical staff was on a super alert notice, so they rushed the decision. But it happened, and then we balled out because the backup quarterback doesn't play defense. We put 40 points on them guys, so we I feel good about where we are. So we got a big test coming up. Big test coming up. We got to go to Green Bay at Green Bay, and
Y'all in second place now too.
we
Y'all gonna get
are.
blown
We're
out
right.
though.
We're
Y'all
right
gonna
there.
get blown out. How much y'all
Listen,
gonna lose by?
I listen.
Just be realistic. Aaron Rodgers is upset. They lost to
He
the
is. He
Giants.
is. He
He
is.
can't
We
lose
got
to both teams, both New York teams.
well. We got some things going in our factor. They're
Like,
coming off. They're coming back from London, right? So that's not an easy trip. They're coming back from London, and if you look at the media reports, they seem to have some tension going on, and I don't, they're not. The Jets are really connected right now. They're feeling good about themselves, and we'll see.
all I know is what's today's date? Today is the 12th.
So today's October 12th.
You see how you smiling and glowing and happy, right? I just want that same energy 3 weeks from
listen,
now.
listen. Those are my boys. I'm not. Listen, I'm never gonna go against them. People can make. Oh, here, my man Ott go with it. No. We're not talking about the Giants, right? But I will say the Giants put it on. The Giants are playing well. We'll
Now we
go
got to
do
give
that.
the Giants their
Let's go.
props.
I give them to them, and they put it
We got
on
to
them
give them
out
their
in London.
props.
I'll give them that respect, and maybe the Giants help soften them up a little bit for us. So I'm not going to knock them, but this is a Jet. This is we're talking about the Jets right now, Ox. So keep that Giants talk. We'll get to them when we get to them. All right, we'll get to them when we get to them. But now they So I'm never going to go against my boys. Never going to go against my boys. Jets are going to come out with the W, and that's what I'm going.
So who you think got a better chance to make it the playoffs?
Between the Jets and the Giants, see, it's going to be tough. So both divisions are hard, right? Like the Eagles are playing well. Cowboys are going to be in there. That's a tough division right there. And then it's the same thing with us. Now the Dolphins, we'll see what happens with them going forward with their injury stuff at the quarterback position and some other positions. So I'm not going to get ahead of myself and say we're going to overtake the Dolphins for second. I'm not going to go, it's still a long season, a lot of games left to be played, right? The Bills looking super strong. So, I'm not going to just give them the division, but they're looking really strong right now. So there's a good chance that they finish in first. So we got to put some games together. Maybe we sneak a wild card, but that's a good question. I would say it's 50-50, really. It's 50-50 because just both of those honestly, the AFC East and you could say the AFC East and the NFC East are the two of the strongest divisions in the in the whole NFL. Really. You know, I mean, it's not. I'm not saying it's definite, but there's a respect to be. There's an argument to be made there. It'll be
No, I don't
interesting
think
going
so.
forward.
I don't think the Jets are gonna make the playoffs.
I'm not predict. I see. So I'm not. I'm a realist with them. I'm not predicting that. I'm just saying that sometimes the ball just bounces your way. Like even I'll be 100%. We're not all the way there as a team yet. We're still young. We're still growing, coaching staff and players. But some of the wins that we've had fortunate situations that have gone our way, but sometimes that just happens. Sometimes that happens to you the whole season. You just get good bounces. The teams that you're playing against, like when they first released the Jeff, well, all the media guys in the football, the Jets are going to start 0-9. Look at their schedule. They're going to lose to this team. They're going to lose to this team. Okay, well, we're 3-2. Some of the teams that people were predicting were going to be really strong aren't as strong as people thought. And then even going forward, the Packers aren't as strong as people thought that they were going to be. We could lose to them, but they're not as strong as they used to be. People were thinking the Broncos are going to be great. They scored 9 points the other day. 9. Like them in the Colts game, it was a baseball score. You know what I mean? So, listen, man, things happen. Things happen. So we'll see. I'm not predicting them to make the playoffs, but hey, man, it's a long season, and they're playing well, and I like the young talent. They're exciting to watch, and I'm having fun with it. So I'm riding till the wheels fall off.
So what are they? 2-3, two and
Three and
two,
two, 3-2. Don't
3-2.
shortchange us. 3-2.
So you got Green Bay 3-3,
Yep.
Broncos 3-4,
Yep.
Patriots 3-5. Then you got the
Yep.
Bills 3-6.
Yep.
Yeah, so y'all be 3-6 by double digits.
Hey man, I'm taking it 1 week at a time. I'm not looking ahead. There's some people out there already talking, the Jets have a path to get into the play. I'm not going that far. I'm taking it one game at a time. We got to deal with the Packers. Like you said, they're angry, coming off of a bad loss. Aaron Rodgers playing in Lambeau, which is not be tough. And we got a lot of young dudes, and they might be looking up at the banners and all of that. As soon as they start walking in the stadium, it might throw them off a little bit. But yeah, man, we'll see. We'll see. So like I said, that's why they flip the coin every week. We'll see what happens. What other games? So I'm looking forward to that game. What games are you looking for? Well, let's start with the games
Cowboys
that
and the
Pat.
Eagles.
Yeah. That's a big one. That's a big
Who
one.
you
Eagles.
got? Who you like in that game?
See that? I don't. The Eagles, they've been dominant, but the Cardinals gave them a scare. Cardinals gave them a scare. Yeah, the Cardinals are good, but they put a scare in them. They put a scare in them. The Cowboys look really good against the Rams, so that's going to be a big one. Now, hold on, let me see where is that game? That game is it's in Philly, Sunday night game. I'll give the Eagles the edge just because it's at home. I'll give them that.
It's gonna be a tough one.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough. It won't be an easy game, but I'll give the Eagles that one. At home, they're probably gonna bring Sylvester Stallone and Meek Mill out for that one. A Sunday night game. They'll bring Meek and Sylvester Stallone out. They'll play the Rocky theme first, and then they'll go to Dreams and Nightmares.
The Bills got the Chiefs too.
Another big time game. Big time game. Big time game. Bills are rolling, man. Like I said, I know I'm not a huge fan of Bills fans, but they're rolling. They're rolling. They are rolling. I can't.
What do you think about the Vikings? The Vikings is quietly
quietly getting it done. Quietly getting it done. I mean, and again, they're stacking up. They're beating teams that they should beat. But listen, that's the way it goes. You can only play the teams that are that are out in front of you, right? That's 1 week at a time, any given Sunday. All the cliches. So it'll be interesting. So, what other games? The Ravens and the Bengals. That was a good game. I mean, low scoring game, but it was a good game. We talked about the Chiefs. They snuck one out against the Raiders. 1 point
Kelce
game.
had a big day. What do you have? 4 TDs, Kelce?
Yeah, listen, man. He's good, man.
How would you rate him in terms of all time tight ends? Will he be on your Mount Rushmore?
Mount Rush. So that's 4.
Yeah.
So I know you're a Patriots fan, so you're gonna put your man number 1 all time? Is he 1?
He has to be
okay.
Well, so, maybe Tony Gonzalez, maybe.
Right, you got Tony Gonzalez in there.
Gonzalez.
So that's 2 right there, right? That's two. I'm trying to think who else. All time now. My
Kellen
football history.
Winslow. No, Antonio Gates.
Antonio Gates. Whew.
Antonio Gates.
Yeah, yeah. I would have to look at the career numbers and you know. Well,
Bob
here's a good one. How much do you for football? For
Shannon
football,
Sharp.
I was just gonna say Shannon Sharp. For football though, because it's such a big team sport, you're talking about 22 dudes that play 53-man roster. How much importance does rings have on for football as opposed to say basketball? So if a player puts up crazy numbers in football but doesn't win a Super Bowl, does it hold the same weight like they try to hold against, say, an NBA player who doesn't win a ring because there's so many players on the field? Does it make a difference?
I think it might be harder in football.
Right. Right.
I
So
think it
Tony
might be
Gonzalez, I
harder.
don't think so. I don't think. Well, obviously Grant got a gazillion rings, right? But then like Tony Gonzalez, he has the numbers, but I don't think he got one, right?
So would he be equivalent to, let's say,
Here
Charles
we
Barkley?
Go ahead, finish it.
Would
Go
it be
ahead.
equivalent to like a Charles Barkley?
You, sure, you can say that. Great player, Hall of Famer, first ballot, no questions asked. Put up crazy
That's a good
numbers. Was it
question.
was it Tony Gonzalez's fault that he didn't win a Super Bowl? I don't think you could say that.
I don't think NFL players get the same
Right.
criticism as NBA players do.
Is that fair because there's more dudes on the team, or is it just
It's just I think football is just harder.
Oh, no
It's just
question.
it's just harder
No
there.
question.
There's so much more involved in it that I just
Hmm.
think it's just harder.
Yeah,
What
for
the
sure.
chat? What y'all think in the chat?
Yeah, that's
What
a
the
good
chat
question.
think?
Yeah. Yeah. What do y'all think in the chat? Does a not winning a Super Bowl as a player, but well, here's nothing else. Something else. Probably every other position they hold that against you. They won't hold it against you except quarterback. Quarterback, I think they do hold it against you for sure.
I think
I think
NBA might be the only sport that they really hold that over your head. I don't know if they do that in baseball too much.
baseball, no, no, no. Mm-mm. Yeah, basketball. But now, is it just purely in numbers? Because basketball is the small is numbers wise is the smallest professional sport team wise. Do you think it has something to do with that?
I don't know. I don't
Right?
know.
Because baseball, you got 9 guys on the field, plus you got relief pitchers and all of that. Football, you got 11 on both sides of the ball. Hockey, you got 6 guys. How many 6 guys on the ice at one time? I think in hockey,
Yeah, something
right?
like that.
Right. So I mean,
I don't know because basketball might be harder to dominate. Maybe
hmm,
like it may be less of a team sport than the other sports.
right, right, right. I mean, and you got guys that you know because right. Well, so I just said that I think in football they don't hold it against you unless you're a quarterback, right? But then some people say that like if somebody wants to say that Barry Sanders is the greatest running back of all time, people will try to knock it and say, well, he never won, and they'll try to maybe put someone like Emmett Smith above him because Emmett Smith, won a lot of champions, you know what I mean? So it does creep in sometime. Now, is it selective where some people are just, whatever, there may not be a consistent argument, but it's,
Well,
huh,
Barry Sanders did it with nothing. Like
right, right. No
he did it
offensive
like
line, right,
he
right.
didn't do it
Yeah, yeah,
with nothing. I don't know
yeah.
if anybody could do what he did with nothing.
Yep, yeah. Hey, no, it's an interesting conversation for sure. It's an interesting conversation for sure. So what we got going on in the chat? So let's go through the chat a little bit. So Mike is talking about his fantasy team. He's being selfish right now.
Hmm.
Don't worry about his. Drippy said basketball is harder. He said orphans don't play defense. So I don't know. He said voice. I'll
Yeah,
try
he
to
doing the
figure out what
voice
he said.
test.
But I'm trying to figure out what was he saying? Offense. So I will assume he's saying
Offense, yeah.
offense don't play defense. Defense don't play offense. Okay. Special teams don't play defense. But okay. So play defense, offense, everything in the book. Okay, I get what she's saying. Get what you're saying. You can affect more parts of the game basketball wise because you can play offense and defense. Where in football you're only playing one side of the ball. So you could be putting up crazy numbers on offense, but if your team is bad on defense, then y'all probably still gonna, not gonna win as much. So that's a fair argument. So Drippy, you're saying it's not the size of the team, it's more so just because you're not playing both sides of the ball. Or you think it's a combination of both? Mike has said too many moving parts on a football field. Yeah, I agree with that. But Drippy, I'd be interested to hear your perspective. So real quick, Ty, any games you looking forward to for next week? We got the Commanders against the Bears. Got the Ravens against the Giants. That's another good one. That's going to be another test for the Giants. They got them at home. So that'll be an interesting one. Jaguars and the Colts. I don't know about that one. Patriots and the Browns.
I like the Patriots on that.
Yeah.
I gotta wear my Patriots jersey next week.
Next week you're gonna wear. Okay. All right. So you're not wearing the Tampa Bay jersey next week. You're gonna wear the.
Nah, not yet.
Well, I don't see them on. Here. So maybe you're not wearing. Oh no, that's not true. They got the Steelers. They got the Steelers. Okay. So that'll be a win for them. Steelers aren't playing very well right now. Got the Bengals and the Saints, Niners and the Falcons, Jets, Packers, Vikings, Dolphins will be a goodie. That'll be a sneaky good game.
Yeah, that will be a goodie.
Yep. Panthers just fired their coach, so that will be interesting what happens with that. They got the Rams, Cardinals, and the Seahawks. Seahawks are playing well. They're playing really well. Geno Smith, who I was not a fan of when he was with the Jets, but you got to give him his respect. He's playing well.
Mm-hmm.
Bills and the Chiefs, we talked about. It's going to be a good one. Cowboys, Eagles, that's prime time, 8:00 game Sunday night. That'll be huge. And then you got the Broncos and the Chargers, so Monday Night Football. So, okay. All right.
How you like the Broncos? I heard that a lot of fans are mad at the future. They feel like he jinxed Russell Wilson with his last song. What you think about that? You hear that?
I did not hear that, and I don't know anything about that. but I do know he hasn't been playing too well. I mean, and they paid a lot of money for him. They paid a lot of money.
You think he's overrated?
No, I think he's solid. He just, I don't know, what the change is. Maybe he's not dealing with the altitude too well, or some other. I don't know. Physically, I think I think they said something. He might have like a partial something maybe in his shoulder. I didn't hear exactly what it was, but there's some speculation. I don't know if it's confirmed or whatever. But they said that he might have something going on in his throwing shoulder, so that might obviously that's going to affect a lot. But overall,
so nothing to do with the future.
I mean, Russell Wilson is a Super Bowl quarterback, so I'm not going to say that he's going to be affected too much by stuff like that. And I mean, if you want to be honest, he won, right? He won that. He won. He got Ciara, so I guess he won, right? So, so why, I don't think there's anything for him to feel salty about. You know what I mean? Future, listen, I'm not going to get into that personal. I jumping off the bridge with that one.
Okay.
So anything else with the NFL stuff, Ty?
Nah, it's just going to be an exciting week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I think the Bills and Chiefs going to be a shootout.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
and that game's in Kansas City.
Yep, that game is definitely going to be a shootout.
That'll be a
49ers
test. 49ers
is looking good with Garoppolo.
Mm-hmm. Yep. No, that'll be a test for sure. That'll be a test.
Definitely looking good.
Mm-hmm. All right. Yeah. So I thought we would talk about. We haven't discussed college football yet on the podcast here, so I wanted to jump into a little bit of that and take it in a direction. So college football right now, the top 5 teams, you have Georgia, you have Ohio State at number 2, Alabama number 3, Clemson number 4, and Michigan number 5. And I bring that up just because to me that's kind of the usual suspects, right, of college football right now. So those are the teams that are playing for the championship every the bowl championship series, right? So that's those are the teams that are not the bowl championship series, the college playoff. It's the same usual suspects, but now a couple months ago, I think they announced that they're trying to expand it to 12 teams that would be eligible for the playoff. And what they're saying it's going to be no later than 2026, but they want to move it up to as early as 2024. So how do you feel about that? I don't know how much you're into college football, but how do you feel about them potentially expand? Well, not potentially. It sounds like it's going to happen. It's just a matter of when. How do you feel about that? Them
I don't think
expanding the
it's
field.
I don't think it's going to matter too much. I think the talent level is just so far between different teams.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it's going to almost be like the NCAA tournament.
Well,
You know what I'm saying?
but do you
You
think
know,
that could be a good thing though?
I mean, it could increase injuries, things like that, but
Mm, mm,
I don't think
mm,
it'll be a good thing. What do you think?
mm. So for me, I think it's going to make it more interesting. And part of the reason why I'm not super into college football is just because I always feel like, to me, I can't look at it as a true competition if only two or three teams or maybe four teams realistically have a chance to win. And not because talent wise, because you're predetermining, okay, we only feel like these three or four teams are worthy of playing for a national championship. I can't get on board for that. Like, to me, that's like, well, why am I watching this then? You know, you know what I mean? Like, if you're saying only three or four teams can win the championship, I was really happy to see with Cincinnati last year with the run that they went on, that they said, okay, you guys went undefeated, so you deserve to play in this. Where, when Central Florida had done that a couple years ago, and
Hmm.
some other teams on that level had done it, and they just said, "Nah, yeah, but y'all don't play anybody," which is not a true fit. That's not truly fair, because it's not like you can control who you schedule and all of that. If teams don't want to play you, if a team doesn't want to schedule Central Florida because they're scared to play them in the regular season, then they're not going to have opportunities to have big games. So I never thought that was a fair argument. But now, if you open it up to 12, is the likelihood of a 12 seed beating a one, but they'll probably have buys in the first round. So it'll probably be like, I guess 5 through 8 play. And then maybe, I don't know exactly how it's going to be, but I'm sorry,
So
5 through 12 will play first, and 1, 2, 3, and 4 will have buys. So, but is there
that's
a
tough.
possibility for upsets? I think so. And that'll make it, I think, more interesting. And like you said, closer to the NCAA tournament, where you might have an upstart that'll upset a team in the first round and make it more interesting. So for me, I think I would pay a little bit more attention to it if you had that going on.
Yeah, I think it'll be a money grab.
Oh no, absolutely. Because now,
Like Michael said,
absolutely,
it'll be a money grab.
absolutely, no question about that. They're gonna figure out how to get that money.
You think it's a
No
way? You
question.
think that's a way to recoup all the money for the NIL deal?
Hmm. I mean, to be honest, I don't think the big schools really care that much about the NIL deals. Now, I'm not working on that level. I'm not in those boardroom meetings, right? But at the end of the day, it's not their money. So why would they care? And if it's not, as long as it's not affecting their endorsement deals and the money that they're getting, like, yeah,
Hmm.
obviously everybody wants more money, right? But if it's at the end of the day, if they're still clearing their profit, and now they don't have, if I'm a big time athletic program, and now, before, when it was said, well, the players should be paid, right? That was a big push, the players should be paid. And now they're looking at it like, yo, we got to pay these dudes. And then with Title IX and everything, so now we're not going to be able to just play the basketball players and the football players. We have to pay everybody to make it fair. So now they're looking at that bottom line and the amount of money they would have to pay out for that. So now
Hmm.
it's like, oh, we don't have to pay, and Nike or whoever else, these local car dealerships, they're the ones that are giving the money up, and we don't have to pay anything. I don't think I think they're happy about it, to be honest. Like, yeah, go ahead. Now we're not under pressure to have to pay y'all. It's almost a relief, I would think, but you know, so
So
it's
they'll be playing essentially three or four more games opposed to just one game.
definitely, right, definitely. And then, and there's to be a similar price setup as far as the bowls and all of that. So now you'll have all these sponsored bowls in those first couple of rounds of the playoffs. And so, yeah, it'll be more money to be made, more TV deals to be made. And yeah, everybody's going to eat. So, yeah, I think it's a good thing. To me, I don't see it as a lose-lose. Like you said, the injuries and the missing class time, that could be a factor. But at the end of the day, we know what it is that we're talking about. So, yeah, business as usual.
Hmm.
Business as usual. All right. So why don't we take a little break here, recharge the battery, and then we'll come back and jump into another big time football story that happened over the weekend in college football. So we'll be right back with the Live by the Three Sports podcast.
Looking to podcast shows and do not know where to start? The Evening Rush Network can help you with that. Call us at 929-441-2417 or email us at theeveningrushnetwork@gmail.com for dates and prices. We got you for all your podcast needs. The Evening Rush Network. Tune in, subscribe, and share.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Live by the Three Sports Podcast. Coach Matt here with my co-host Tyler, and we just got finished talking about college football, and want to jump into another interesting occurrence that happened over the weekend in college football, but it also involves a former NFL player, the greatest cornerback to ever play the game, right? That's what they say. I'm partial to Darrelle Revis, but I'll leave that alone for a little while. But Deion Sanders, head coach of Jackson State University, got into a little bit of a situation with an opposing coach from Alabama State. So for those that don't know, I'll give a little background on it. Apparently, well, I saw the video. There was a post-game handshake between the two coaches at midfield after the game. Jackson State won pretty handily over Alabama State, and Deion approached the Alabama State head coach, shook his hand. Alabama State coach shook his hand, and then Deion went in to pull closer into a bro hug. And as the bro hug was being attempted, coach from Alabama State, Coach Robinson, stuck his hand out, kind of put it in Deion's chest and was like, nah, we're not doing that, man. We're not doing that. So Deion looked kind of shocked, taken aback by what had happened. And, they were separated. It didn't go any further than that. But then the head coach from Alabama State was asked about afterwards why he did that. And his rationale, his reasoning was that he said him and Coach Sanders are not friends, that they're rivals, and they just played a game. He also spoke on some things that he didn't appreciate that Coach Sanders allegedly did as far as crossing the field during their warm-ups and, a couple of other things that he didn't think. And also he felt that he was speaking disrespectfully about Alabama State's football team and what they were going to do to them in the game. And he took exception to that. And so now when Coach Sanders tried to shake his hand with a bro hug, he wasn't with it. He said, hey, we're not friends. We don't speak on the phone. You think you're bigger than the SWAC, our conference, and all of that. And he wasn't feeling it. And Deion took exception to that, but then Deion took it a step further and he started talking on social media. And he said, if I'm not SWAC, who is SWAC? So he got his blood up. The Coach Robinson did say he thought that his behavior was a little bit inappropriate, that he didn't do a good job of modeling for his players, and he apologized for his actions. So, So what, how did you feel about that whole situation? What was your take on it?
First, let's plug the channel.
Okay.
Let's plug the channel.
The
Evening Rush Network app on all platforms. Make sure y'all download, subscribe, leave a comment. My thoughts on it. Well, the first angle was like, damn, why did the coach do that? Mm-hmm. But once they showed the different angle, I listened to what the coach said. He basically was saying like, you've been talking trash about me all week. We ain't friends. You ain't trying to reach out to me. I think he even said the pregame, there was no interaction. Mm-hmm. Then after the game, I think he was mad because they tried to do a hitch and go with like a minute left, and they was blowing him out. So now when the game is over, now you want to come give me a hug. He was like, nah, I'm good. I don't need that. Like, you keep that over there. So I feel him on that. Like, I probably would have did the same thing. Like, nah, we good. You don't need us. We not cool, so let's not act like we cool. I think Deion probably blew it out of proportion a little bit. Mm-hmm. But that's he's entertaining. You know what I'm saying? And then the video, You went in saying that, the coach said he wasn't swag, whatever. Then he comes the next day, he got the hoodie, the swag hoodie. He dancing. He got, it's
he
entertainment
didn't he didn't turn down the temperature.
at all, at all, at all.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting dynamic, right? And you have the whole dynamic of should there be post game handshakes between teams and coaches and stuff. That was something that came up after the North Carolina and Duke game. Was it last season or 2 seasons ago? I can't remember
I think
now.
it might
But
have been 2 seasons ago.
right, you're right, where they had the incident with the coach. So and that came up with as a point of discussion, the sportsmanship. You know, so I see it from a lot of different angles. I agree that sportsmanship is an ideal that everyone should aspire to. Emotions run high after a game, and obviously that's what happened. And then coach admitted it. He said, "Look, I was upset at everything that had been said throughout the week, and we lost. So yeah, I was feeling, I was emotional at that time, and so yeah, that Deion extending the bro hug, he reacted to it like, no, we're not friends, and but he admitted it was partly out of emotion. So is
I don't think the gesture was like disrespectful. He was just like, yo, like, you
yeah,
invaded my personal space, chill.
right.
And, Dion just took it.
But okay, so now, but so he said though he felt that in that time and place it was inappropriate. Obviously, there's cameras and everybody sees it, and now it turns into this bigger moment. So in that moment, I get it. As a man, you feel how you feel, and you're going to stand your ground. But as a head coach of a football team that's playing a televised game, and you're responsible for young men and all of that, do you think that it was still in hindsight a reasonable reaction, or should he just have said, all right, yeah, I don't
Yeah.
like this dude, but I'm not going to create a scene, and we just keep it pushing, and
Yeah, because
that's
you
it?
can't get into everybody's personal space,
Right.
especially
Okay.
when you've been dogging and trashing me all week. Nah, we're not hugging.
I,
What we hugging for? Like, we're not cool. We shake your hand and we keep it moving. But all that extra, like, come on, man. You coach. Someone's dogging you all week, and then after the game, they like, hey, man, hey, you know what I'm saying? Look at that. You like, nah, I don't know what you would do, that, but
okay.
what would you do in that
So
situation?
I would like to think that I would take the high road. So, but I also, I don't believe in being fake. Also, you know what I mean. So I think I kind of give off that energy. Like if I don't mess with you, not on a tough guy act, but if it's known like we don't see eye to eye, then no, we don't need to do the whole bro hug thing. I'm on that, but at the same time, time and place, causing a scene, trying to role model properly for my players and being the bigger man and all of those things. I think all of that is it's all in the atmosphere at once. I would like to think that I would just take the high road and, maybe take out my frustration later, and,
Hmm.
and handle it that way. But we're all human. We all make mistakes. I did like that the coach, he stood his ground at that time, and he admitted, hey, I'm human and I made a mistake. I shouldn't have handled it that way. And I like that he, upon reflection, said I didn't set a great example for my team and my players. My man Micah said in the chat, Prime keeps saying that the SWAT coaches need to come together. So he's trying to force interactions. Do you think that might have some validity to it?
It might, but maybe the way he doing it, it might rub people the wrong way.
Well, but in a competitive thing, right? And these guys have been grinding for all of these years now. Not Deion has been coaching, right? He was coaching high school. He was coaching, I think I don't know if it was AAU, but he was coaching some youth stuff, And then he gets a job at Jackson State, and then now he's let's be honest, he's overshadowing the league. So there could be some rub raw feelings because of that
Hmm.
added on. And if he's winning at a high time level, he's getting these recruits, I'm not going to say jealousy, but that's going to breed a little bit of
Probably, yeah.
resentment. So, and if you're going to be honest about it, then if you feel that way, then that's going to be a part of your reaction too. It's not going to be based solely on what you said it was, right? So, yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Well, let's see. We got people. If y'all want to call in, the number is 929-282-0266.
Mm-hmm.
929-282-0266. The lines are open. We want to hear your opinions, what you got to say about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, please do call in and let us know in the chat what you're thinking. Drippy said it causes a sore loser into a former NFL Hall of Famer. Man, that's
Mm-hmm.
part of it, man. Listen, if you're gonna keep it clean, that's got to be part of it. That's got to be part of it, right? Yeah. Micah
What
said,
do
I've
you?
seen a
What you
Micah
say?
said,
What
I've
Micah
seen a
say?
few interviews. He's low key dogging the league, putting himself on a pedestal for finally bringing real recruits and talk about jealousy among coaches. All right. So Micah's not feeling Deion, not feeling him, not feeling it. Not fat, hey,
It's
you
hard
know.
as it is. You know how it is, man. It's hard to
hmm
recruit.
It is. It
So
is.
you
It is.
can't you
Listen.
can't knock somebody because you have all the resources. You could pull up the phone and
hmm
be like, Ray Lewis, hey,
hmm
say something to him. You know what I'm
All
saying?
right.
And most
Yeah.
coaches don't have that. So it's kind
Yeah.
of like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
it's just hard, man. It's just
That
hard.
is hard, and it's competitive, right? And guys are fighting for their jobs, and and alumni, they don't want to hear that, because now they're turning around. Even though everybody from the outside can look at it and say, well, the reason why he's getting these great players is because he's Deion Sanders, right? But the
Mm-hmm.
people at your school who paying your salary or your, alumni and donors, and they're not trying to hear that. They want to win a championship. They're not trying to hear, well, I can't get the type of players Deion gets. They
Mm-hmm.
want you to figure it out. So that puts pressure on you too. And that pressure, that's the thing. When you're coaching at that level, people put pressure on you, and it can cause people to react if they don't handle that pressure well. You know,
Yeah.
So speaking of pressure and people not reacting well, let's jump into my man, Draymond Green. Draymond Green. So the latest updates with that whole situation, I'm sure everybody saw the video. It went super viral. They said whoever shot the video, I think they're still searching, or maybe they know, but they're not saying. Allegedly, the person that sent the video into TMZ got 2.6 million. Now I don't know if that's true. I don't know if
Two
that's been
point
verified.
six.
I don't think that's been confirmed or verified,
Oh, I'd
but
have gave that up for that.
okay, let me ask this question. So to me, there's two possibilities that happen. Two people either sent that video. It's either a video coordinator or a security guard, someone that had access to the security cam footage and they shot it with their cell phone. So it's either a security guard or a video coordinator. Now the
Mm-hmm.
security guard, he does it, right? They catch him, he gets fired by that facility. Chances are he might be able to get another job as security. But I look at it from, okay, if you're a video coordinator, you're not going to make that much money, right? And 2.6 is a lot of money. But Eric Spoelstra started off as a video coordinator, right? And there's lots of guys that have started off at that level and made it to be head coaches in the NBA. So if it was you, yeah, 2.6 is a lot of money. But now you got your foot in the door to coach in the NBA, and then you took this you took the short money. That's how I look at it. You know what I mean? So if I don't know, 2 points, that's a lot of money. But
Yeah, that ain't
if
short
I'm a
money.
if yeah, that's yeah,
That ain't
yeah,
short,
yeah.
but for what?
It
Just
is. It is.
nah,
If
that
you
ain't short.
handle it right, do some investments or something like that, you could turn it into long
Yeah,
money for sure.
you can
You
still do
could.
video work. You just might not
Yeah.
be in the NBA.
Oh no, no, you're not going in the NBA. And
That's
then
if they know you did it.
yeah, I said this the other day. I thought that they were smart to shoot it on their cell phone and not send a clip like through an email or something like that, because that would have been real easy to catch on the server or whatever. You shoot it on the
Mm-hmm.
cell phone video. Now that's a little bit, that's a little. So whether it's a security guard or um, a video coordinator, whatever, that had access to the film, I thought that was smart, to try to stay anonymous. Not that I'm, about letting out private information. That's bad. But so the latest with that is he got a fine. They didn't disclose the amount of the fine, and allegedly his suspension is almost over. His not. They said it wasn't a official suspension. He took a voluntary leave, which they allowed, but he's supposed to be back tomorrow. So Tyler, I'm gonna throw this back on you, man. So allegedly, Steve Kerr made the quote that the reason why they're okay with Draymond coming back is because Jordan Poole said he's okay with it. He's done. It's over as far as he's concerned. So you play professional basketball, played, high school, college, high level. Same scenario, same way it went down. the punch and it getting out, and now the whole world sees it. Are you cool and saying, yeah, let's just move on, it's over, and then continue to play with this person?
Contract year or after I sign my contract? Which year? Because he
Same,
in
same.
he in the contract year
He's
right
in a
now.
contract year. Yep.
Yeah, because I ain't blowing that bag. We could deal with that. We could deal with that later.
Okay.
Because he
Now,
got a big extension coming up.
now you personally though, that's a smart business way to handle it, right? That's a professional way to handle it. Could you actually do it though? Not you know what I mean? Not just say, oh yeah, I'm gonna stay on the team. I'm talking about you
I
gotta
mean,
look this.
being professional, yeah. I
But
would
as
never
far as
look at
really,
him.
yeah.
I would never like look at him the same. Whatever he say
Right.
won't hold no weight. Like it'd be like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I could do it.
So
I
you
could do
could
it.
put,
It'd be hard.
but the thing is, the Warriors, they're trying to play for championships. Like, do you think you could truly in your mind put it all the way to the side, not look at him sideways? You got a 3-on-1 break. You got him on one side, somebody
No, I
else
could
on the
get.
other
The
side.
only
You know what I
problem
mean?
I would have is like in the heat of the moment. You know what I'm saying? If he
Right,
try to say some slick shit, then
right,
that shit might trigger me. You know what I'm saying?
right,
But
right, right,
outside of
right,
that,
right.
it's I don't know. That's he's young, so it's tough, man.
Yeah, he's young, man, and
It's
everybody
it's
saw it.
it's
Now, and
tough.
I don't think he came off bad, like looking like soft or a punk or anything. I mean, he got hit and he went down. You know what I mean? It wasn't like he
And it
backed
don't
away
it
from the
don't it
fight.
don't it don't look
It,
good for the light skinned brothers too, man. Like he set us back a couple years, man. You know what I'm saying? He set
I
us
mean,
back, man. I just wish it
I
didn't
mean,
have, you know.
but I don't think he came off bad. For, like, it wasn't like he backed away from the fight. I mean, he took a hell of a punch and he went down, and then they separate. You know what I mean? There was nothing really he could do to show like, okay, I'm gonna get. That there was no opportunity. So I don't think he comes off looking bad. But in our social media era and all of that, and everybody say, I mean, that has to weigh on you. So I mean, I don't think there's any you never say never, right? But that's a hard thing to get over. Number one, the person just hitting you like that. Number one, and then two, for the whole world to see it, that's a whole nother level of weighing on your mind that you got to try to push to the side and still with the goal of winning the championship with this same person.
See,
Like
but
that's not.
now he can't talk trash to nobody else.
Nah.
He can't talk trash to his lady
Right.
because she's gonna be
Right.
like, yo, you ain't say that shit to Draymond.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So he don't
Right.
got no wins.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Dudes in the
He just
league.
gotta just be like humble.
You know what I just thought about? Could you imagine like if somebody like Kevin Garnett was still in the league and he and he played against him, but he was saying you out on the court?
Gary
Oh,
Payton.
dude. Oh man. That right. Like, what I mean, you're not living that down. So all the dudes in the league that got slick mouths, they're gonna be saying their little stuff. You know what I mean? Like that's man.
Like what would you? And I'm pretty sure not to stereotype anybody, but if he dealing with a sister or something like that, man, she gonna let him have it. Or do I gotta?
I mean,
do
like I said,
I get Draymond to come over here to get you to take the garbage out?
Man.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, hopefully he's not in that type of relationship where it's gonna go. You know what I mean? Where they have those, they have to have those type of conversations. I'm a hope that he's not in that type of thing. But nah. I mean, like I said, I don't think he came off bad in the fight because like it really wasn't a fight. You know what I mean? Like, and to his credit, dude got in his face. He pushed him, like, yo, get out my face.
Yeah, he just didn't protect himself. You know what I'm saying? Like once you push somebody, you gotta know
not
something
at all.
going.
Not at all. Yeah.
But you don't expect that.
I mean, that punch didn't look like just a,
That was like some back pay. Like he was holding on.
That has something behind it. That wasn't just a, I don't like what you just said. That had some. That punch looked like it had history behind it.
Check this out. Evan Turner tweeted that what did he say? He should have did that to Lance Stevenson. They had a beef in 2014. I think Lance like fake punched him or something like that, and he had to be separated.
Right.
So it was just interesting to see the
different
reactions
guys
from different players.
Yeah. But like I said, I think there's a one piece, just the man-to-man thing of getting, hit like that by somebody, a teammate and all that. But then you throw the whole social media going viral thing on top of it, man. That takes it to a whole nother echelon just for your own, mental health, right? Like, people talk, it's not a joke, man. Like that's serious, So
Do
then you
you
got
think
some
that
room.
it was like warranted? Do you think like Poole was like feeling himself and he had to get checked?
I
'Cause
mean,
it was last year he was, yeah, I
he's
was
a
gonna
young
say that's
boy,
why.
right?
Yeah,
Right. He
he
was
is
a young
young.
boy last year, and then maybe. Yeah, I mean, but that type of like, I've seen lots of fights, and I got Micah was a UMass dude, and so I've seen fights and practices, I've seen it, but that punch was a whole that
I
man.
heard you seen a team fight or two. How you handle that?
And them dudes. Nah, I got out the way. I ain't getting in the middle of
You let them do what they got to
that.
do?
I've seen,
What Micah said? You see
oh,
the
you talking about
a fight or two?
I'm not even going to get into that. I'm not, my guys don't fight.
Well, I don't
I've
know.
not.
In the chat, they see fights. I don't know if there's pay-per-view fights, so I don't know what
Yeah,
that
yeah,
means.
yeah. I don't know. Yeah. See, my man Micah said, yeah, I've seen some fights go on, but that I've seen regular fights. The way he hit him, that wasn't a regular punch. That wasn't just
Hmm.
you push me and I'm going to hit you back. Like he
Yo, but
stepped
he
back.
hit him
Yeah.
and he held his head, so
Mm-hmm.
he cared for him at the same time.
Oh, here you go. Yeah. I don't know about that.
I don't know. He hit him, and then he was like, let me
He
hold
might
him up real
he
quick.
might have held his head because he thought he killed him. That's he was like, yo, I'm about to get a number on my chest after the way I hit that dude. So that might have been that. He might have been like, oh, whoa. I ain't trying to get sent up after that one. Man.
Do you think the tape would have got out if that was Steph Curry? Steph Curry getting hit?
That's a great wait, hold, man. Hold it. If they paid $2.6 million for the Draymond Green punching him, how much do you think the TMZ check would have been if Steph Curry had did that?
Yeah, that'd be at least 10, 15. That'd be at least 10,
Can
15.
Can you imagine that? If Steph Curry did that, that bag would have. Now that's walk away lifetime changing money. There's no discussion at that point. That bag would have been Powerball money. That's Powerball and Mega Millions money for that
Yeah,
team.
that's a nice
Woof.
little bag right there.
Yeah,
That's a nice little bag.
no question about it. No question about it. No question about it. All right, so let's see what's
Steph
going on
getting
in
out
the
even
trap.
quicker. Yeah, it might get out. I don't know, but I think that's a reflection of Draymond, more of how they see Draymond, the way it
Mm-hmm.
just got out. Because certain people,
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna
That's a good.
protect certain people.
That's a good point.
Certain
That's
people
a
is
good
not. It's
point.
not gonna get out.
That's a good point.
It's not
Yeah,
gonna
I mean,
get
you
out.
never know what, right? You never know what his relationships are in the building. If it's a different person, maybe they might, try to cover it up or whatever. But if
Like
people that,
LeBron, that ain't getting out. I don't think that would get out. I mean, he probably got his own people on the other side just in case if it got out
yeah,
to cut that shit. They go, LeBron, yo, we
yeah,
got
oh
this
yeah,
tape.
no question. Yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah. Oh, he
There's
got
certain
that
people
building
that's not.
surrounded. There's no
Yeah,
loose threads in that building.
yeah.
His image, that you gotta protect that image at all costs. Ain't no loose threads in that building. Because
Who else you think? Who else you think they protect the image?
in the NBA,
Mm-hmm.
I mean LeBron's. Well, see, yeah, I mean, yeah, they'll protect LeBron the way they kind of tried to protect Mike. Trying to think who else. Steph, yes, I think they would. Um, I mean, honestly, a lot of the good, guys are up. Would they protect Giannis like that? I think so. I think Giannis's image is to the point now where
You
it's
think
like,
so?
okay. I just because I mean, number one, he won a championship. He's an MVP, but I also feel like how he's carried himself so far is that's what they want the ideal NBA superstar to be. You know what I mean? He's about his family. He's got his brothers going around. He's got, young family. He's about the fans and the people. You know what I mean? Like he carries himself the way that the NBA wants their superstars to carry themselves. So if he
What
did
about
do
Luka?
See, I don't really know much about him off the court. I mean, I know he, I see pictures of him like hanging out, drinking beers before playoff games, stuff like that. So, I mean, but he's definitely one of the faces of the NBA for sure. So, yeah, I think if he stepped out of line, they would try to, they're always going to try to protect the image. It's just how much influence do they have, versus over other people. You know what I mean? So, yeah, he'd be one. He'd be one. He'd be one.
Mm.
So let me ask you this. So staying with the NBA, did you get a chance to check out Victor Wembanyama? Did you get a chance to check him out at all? The 7'3" kid from France that they're talking about?
Yeah, they say he's the best prospect ever.
That's
Think
what
about
Adrian.
that.
How you
They
put it?
said he's
Adrian
a cross
Wojnarowski, Adrian
between,
W. Wojnarowski said, right? Best ever,
yeah,
best prospect ever. Going to change the game.
he's a
Did you
what?
see?
He's a what is he? They say KD and Gobert.
That's what they're saying. I've heard some other names too. So your first impressions. What did you think?
He gave the G League, the G, what they call it, the G
The G
United
League,
Elite or G
yeah,
Unit or whatever they call it.
yeah.
He
The
gave
G,
up 36. I was like, oh yeah, he ready,
gave it
ready.
to him. Gave it to him.
He's ready, ready.
7 for 11 from three. Shot that thing too.
Yeah, he's good. He's gonna be good. I don't know who's gonna tank to get him,
Right.
but he's
But
good.
now Adrian Wojnarowski said that he's the best singular prospect in the NBA draft history, right? Do
Hmm.
you agree with that? And I'll throw out some names to you. Now, some of these guys might be before our time, right? But we're talking about, they listed Wilt Chamberlain, Oscar Robertson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Magic Johnson, Ralph Sampson, Patrick Ewing, Shaquille O'Neal, Tim Duncan, LeBron James. Do you see him being, from what you've seen so far, it's early, right? And it was one G League Ignite thing, but do you think he has the potential to be at that level prospect as those guys?
Yeah, I think so.
Ooh.
I think so.
Ooh.
Cause ain't nobody like him. Like I think he's gonna change the whole game. Ain't nobody like him out there.
So now I've heard this. So my man Micah, he's been on fire today, and I've heard this name also. A lot of people are saying that he's Porzingis, right? Like he was what Porzingis was supposed to be. It's similar skill set, similar size, all of that. But I never looked at, to me personally, I never looked at Porzingis in the same category as LeBron or Magic Johnson or Shaq or Wilt Chamberlain. I never, but they're saying that's his. I don't know if people are saying that's his skill level. I think that his ceiling is Porzingis. That they're just comparing the skill, but I don't know.
That's disrespectful. Who disrespect? Who that? Who said that in the chat? That's disrespectful.
What's that?
Poor. Nah, that's not.
No. Ty, I've heard that a few times. That like they say that he was like people thought Porzingis was going to be that next guy, and then he got hurt, and then he's in New York and all of that, but they thought that Porzingis was going to be that guy, and they compare their skill set and all of that, and they say, yeah, he's going to change the game like Porzingis was. I've heard that a few times, like different people comparing him, not his career to Porzingis, but that he's supposed to be that type of talent. Like Micah said, came in with height, like he was going to be that next guy to take over the league.
Yeah, but I don't think he came in with that type of hype. He came in with hype, but not this type of hype. They saying if it was him and LeBron would go number 2. So I'm pretty sure he ain't coming with that type of hype.
Yeah. I'll be my personal opinion. Now, again, I didn't see him play live. He put on the show. I saw LeBron play. Do you remember the story about when LeBron came to IS8 and played that time with Sebastian Telfair?
Mm-hmm.
So I saw that game when he came to IS8. And as soon as the layup line started, you knew, like, okay, I'm watching the NBA Hall of Famer. Like, it was that obvious. And he was 17, 18 years old. You know what I mean? Like, okay, that's a Hall of Famer right there. Like, no question about it. And you could just see it. And it wasn't like he scored 100 points in the game or anything like that. But it was so clear that he was going to be a Hall of Famer just by watching him at 18 years old. When I watched Wembanyama, all the potential in the world to be really good, but I didn't watch it and say, oh, yeah, that dude's a, first ballot Hall of Famer, one of the greatest of all time. Now, he could end up being that. I'm not saying he's not or can't be. I'm saying I didn't get that same, level of like, okay, yeah, nah, this is a no-brainer. This dude is going to be one of the greatest to ever play the game. I don't know.
Oh, real quick before we wrap up, what do you think about the fight this weekend? Deontay Wilder and Robert Helenius.
Well, I mean, I like Wilder, and he's got some get back, right? he's got that. So it's going to be one of two ways. Either he's still feeling the effects of what happened to him the last time, or he's a man in a mission with a chip on his shoulder. So I'll go where he got a chip on his shoulder. So I'll go with Wilder because it's redemption time. So I'll go with that. I'll go with
knockout or decision.
Well, in his fights, I don't think, it's going to be a knockout one way Either he gonna get tired and get knocked out, or he gonna knock somebody.
Yeah, I'm going Wilder too.
It's only gonna go but one or two ways. Only one or two ways with them. Yeah,
All right,
that's.
we wrapping up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you, everyone, for coming out.
Absolutely. The chat was on fire today. Appreciate everybody showing love and coming out. So join us next week on another episode of Live by the 3 Sports Podcast with Tyler. This is Coach Matt saying good night, and we'll catch you next week. Peace.
Next week.